keep on down into baseball. In 6th grade on up, when I got to play in high school, I think the scouts started coming down when I was in 10th and 11th grade. And they saw me play shortstop, they saw me pitch. And one scout asked me, what do you like to do? Well, that day I'd played shortstop. I had 2 home runs, and I don't know how many runs I knocked in. I said, I want to play shortstop. He said, I'll see you next year. Well, the next year he saw me, I was pitching. He said, I thought you were a shortstop. I said, I am when I don't pitch. I said, I can hit also. I can pitch and hit. So then, when I was senior, I had a pretty good catcher out there behind me named Francis Combs, and the shortstop Freddie Combs, which is here today. There was a scout came down that scouted him named Clyde Klutz. Clyde was the type of guy that he didn't mind sitting down eating with you. He didn't mind sitting down doing some work on the farm with you or whatever. But Clyde was the guy who would always tell you the truth. He was a guy that he didn't want to shoot you a curve. He wanted to tell you the truth about baseball, everything that you were going to be confronted with if you signed to play. And at that time, Mr. Charlie Finley called. And he said, do you know a guy named Clyde Klutz? Well, he even told me his name. I said, yes, sir. He's been living with me the last 2 weeks. He said, I wanted to make sure because I'm paying his salary. And then he told me, he says, I'm going to come down for the playoff games, look at you play. After that, I want to sign you. Well, at that time, I really didn't know anything about the Kansas City A's, just a little bit. And my catcher that caught me in high school, Francis Combs, says, you don't know that team? So that's the guy with the owner with all the colorful uniforms and everything. Says, he's out there trying to promote baseball. Says, you might like to go with him. I said, well, I don't know. I said, as long as he gives me some money, gives me a chance, I'll go. So after we went ahead and we lost the playoffs my senior year in high school, Mr. Finley called 3 days later. He says, I'm calling today to sign you. He said, I know Clyde Klutz is there because I'm still paying his salary. He says, what do you want? Well, I said, well, I got to wait 2 more days because I promised other teams that I wanted to talk to them. He says, I'm going to sign you today. I'll never talk to you again. So I sat there a few minutes, and Blue Moon Odom had signed out of Macon, Georgia. I said, I'll have the same contract that Blue Moon Odom got, plus I want a black Thunderbird. He sat there a few minutes by telephone. He said, well, why do you want the Thunderbird? I said, well, I think it's a pretty car. He said, well, I'm going to give you enough money to buy the Thunderbird. And I ain't going to give you that, so you buy it with your money that I give you. He said, but I'll give you $75,000. You sign today, right now, or that's it. I looked at my dad looked at me, he got up and walked out. When he walked out, I started thinking $75,000. At that time, $75 looked mighty good. So I said, I'll sign. So he said, all right, let me talk to Clyde. So Clyde Klutz was sitting there writing things down and everything. He said, Mr. Finley wants to talk back to you. Mr. Finley said, do you have a nickname? I said, no, sir. He said, well, to play baseball, you got to have one. He says, what do you like to do? I said, hunt and fish. He said, well, when you were 6 years old, you ran away from home and fishing. About 4 o'clock that afternoon, your mom and dad had been looking for you all day. They found you. You caught 2 catfish, was bringing in the third. He says, now repeat it to me. So I had to repeat it to everybody that I met that was a friend of Mr. Finley's, but, when you say Jim Hunter now, nobody really recognizes that name, but when you say Catfish, everybody remembers it. Thank you, Mr. Finley, for the nickname. And thanks to Mr. Steinbrenner, Mr. Finley gave me the opportunity to start playing in the big leagues. Mr. Steinbrenner gave me enough money to retire after 5 years. Thank you, Mr. Steinbrenner. Thank you for coming today. Like I said before, when I pitched in the big leagues with the Oakland A's and with the New York Yankees, there's no way I could pitch and win a ball game by myself. I had to have help. Had to have the defense, offense, everybody had to play together. And that's the only way that I know how to win, is to be together and to win together, play together, want to win. And I think that's what made me win as many games as I did, is because of the players behind me, the coaches, the manager, front office, the owners, getting the players to produce. A lot of times you see players that don't want to play baseball, even though today they're making a lot of money. A lot of them don't want to play. They get out there once in a while and jake. Well, they got one or two players that'll get on them on each club. I always loved to get on somebody that loafed, because I knew he wouldn't put out that 100%. And I wanted to tell him that if he didn't want to play, go home. And that's the way I always thought about playing baseball, or playing any sport or anything. The only thing you can do is give that 100%. There's not a such thing to me as 110, 105%. And you're the only one that knows what you do out there. If you don't give that 100%, you're not going to succeed in anything. And thanks to the good Lord, I'm here today. And thanks to the news media, the fans that supported me, and my friends and neighbors that are here from North Carolina. It's the greatest honor that any guy could ever receive. Thank you.